What's up everybody, Coach Mills here, and if you want to dominate every single map in Valorant, then I got the perfect video for you. In this video here at GameLeap, we compiled a list of some very interesting tips and tricks that are guaranteed to have impact in your games and help you climb the ranked ladder. Now, like some videos that you might have seen here and there that just have very niche or arbitrary tips, every single example in this video will directly impact your next games, guaranteed. But before we get started, here at GameLeap, we like to do it big. So if you smash that like and subscribe button, we will be sending you a 1967 Chevy Impala. So if that's your dream car, smash that like and subscribe button. But without further ado, let's just jump right into it. Now, kicking it off with the first map, we have Bind. And Bind can be exceptionally frustrating with all the interactions involving the teleporter, whether people are going inside and you just can't seem to get them out, or you're trying to chase people through the teleporter and they're waiting for you or whatever. So without further ado, let's just jump right into it. So first off, at a primary level, if you know that someone went into the teleporter and you suspect they're waiting for you, going in the teleporter backwards and pre-firing can let you just kill them right away, because the headshot is going to be lined up. If they're at the back of the teleporter and you go in backwards, it's that easy to basically just kill them right away. Now, I call this a primary tactic because once players start doing this, which they've already have in some cases, you want to actually be playing a little bit adjacent, not in front of the enemy, not behind of the enemy if you're waiting for them in the teleporter, somewhere off to the side, so that the 360 potential of you is a little bit not set in stone. Because if you're directly behind, they just have to go directly backwards, and if you're in front, they just face forward. But if you do it somewhere along the side, there's way too many places for them to be perfectly lined up when they go through the teleporter. Now, let me show off some really powerful wallbang teleporter spots, because how many times has someone went into a teleporter on Bind and you've just sprayed and sprayed and sprayed and you can't kill them, you can't get them out. They're hiding in a really obvious spot most likely, but you just cannot flush them out. So let's show you some recorded clips of the different things you need to think about when trying to wallbang people out of teleporters on the one near hookah around the corners. So first off, if they're in the right corner, so if they're inside, it will be their right corner. All you have to do is you have to angle yourself slightly from this little sliver, because this is not wallbangable, this sliver right here, and you aim right here, and it will clear out anyone in that corner very, very easily. You just have to aim at head level, and it'll just finish them off. Now, the other angle is a little bit interesting. On the other side is a little bit more difficult. So right here, like as far along the wall as possible, if you're just aiming close to the box, you won't kill anybody. And that is as far as you can go. But if they're in that corner and you angle yourself out this way and you're close enough, then you can easily wallbang the person in that corner and kill them as well. Now, that's why generally this corner is a little bit more powerful to hide in, because the enemy have to literally wrap around, as opposed to, you know, being over here, they can kind of wrap this side. So something just interesting to think about. But those are the two corners, and that's how you clear them. So if you're ever in this scenario, just remember, slightly angled out this corner around head level, or this other side, this place. Now, in the other teleporter from B long to specifically the back of showers, the first angle, the right side, the biggest problem that happens right off the bat is you actually need to be shooting at the door at an angle to hit the people on the right side. You're literally shooting through the door, not the wall, in order to kill the person in the corner. Now, from the left side, there's two ways you can go about it. If you have an AR, you can go on top of the wooden box and spray right down at this place that I'm showing you right here. And this will headshot, or at the very least hit a large amount of bullets into the enemy. And this can be really powerful and pretty easy to do. The biggest problem with this one is that if an enemy swings out, they can easily kill you just like that. They could just wait for you to fire and kill you. That being said, if you have an LMG, you can actually wrap around to the left side and wall bang that corner and a lot of different spots in the teleporter through the actual wall. But this is only capable with high penetration, so you got to keep that in mind. There's two different options here. One of them works without it, and one of them is a little bit safer because it's harder for them to swing around to you. Now, moving on to the next map we have to talk about. We have to talk about Haven, and the particular thing we're going to talk about first is double doors. So this is the exact spot that you need a wall bang on attack or defense. I'm going to show you exactly where, depending on what you're trying to clear out. And here, directly on the left, outside from an attacker's point of view, attacking the double doors area, you see that you can wall bang straight through this wall and catch people hiding in this left cubby, but it can only be done with LMGs. Now, this is really important because how many times have you died to a shotgun wielder just playing right there? This is a very easy wall bang that you can do with any LMG. You could even do it with an AWP, You could even do it with the sheriff. You just need high penetration, and you can actually pressure the person on the other side, at the very least, doing some damage to them and getting them the heck out of there. Now, specifically, if you're along this wooden box, aiming directly above the little break at the top part of the door, that entire area is about the area of someone that would be standing in the window. Now, killing someone without perfect information from outside, even if you tag them a little bit, it's going to be very difficult to kill them just with spray because they're so far away, and not a lot of their body will be peeking out of the playing in window, but you can pressure them out, and it can be really valuable for forcing them away, especially if you suspect there's like an opera holding there and you want your team to push in. You definitely want to encourage them to get the heck out of that room so that they can't hold that angle. Now, if you're from the inside and you're using the Ares, this is the exact area that you need to spray if you specifically want to hit players that are around that wooden box or to the right of it, because that's usually where they route in. You can do this right off the bat, start spraying through the metal doors and just spray the enemy on the other side. And this is the general area that you need to spray if you don't have information. Now, of course, you could set this up with something like drone or recon dart, but just in general, if you spray these areas, they can clear out these areas and can definitely get you a decent amount of value automatically. Now, as an extra wallbang spot, this corner in mid can actually be harassed by someone in A short. You can wallbang this from A short by simply shooting right here in the spot that we pictured here in this video. If you shoot this, any person that's hiding in that box can take tons of fire, and you can realistically kill them so quickly. And a lot of times sages will hide in there because sages love to play mid so they can wall off mid. So if you pressure that angle out, especially if you are lurking through A short and you have other teammates pushing up mid, you can definitely put pressure there, and at the very least you could relay to your team, say, hey, the enemy is not here, the enemy is cleared out of that corner, you don't have to worry about that corner. But here's the important part. You can only do this with an LMG, an op, or sheriff, the heavy weapons like we talked about before. Don't know exactly why you'd be lurking with an LMG down A short, but maybe an op, maybe a sheriff, or whatever. Definitely keep this in mind because it can be useful, especially for flushing sages out of that little corner. Now, moving on to the next map, we have Split. And I'm not going to be talking about general things like plant zones or anything like that. What I'm specifically going to be talking about is something that Split has that no other maps have, and that's zip lines. So the first thing that sometimes happens to you when you're playing on Split is you walk near a zip line, someone zips up and just kills you just like that. And you're like, what the heck? How can they do that? How is this fair? And you have a lot of different questions about how zip lines work. Well, the first thing that you need to know is that when you're on a zip line, if you're not moving at all, it is the exact same accuracy as if you were walk shooting. So walk shooting is fairly accurate, especially for the first couple of shots, but it's not accurate past like the third or fourth shot. It starts to spray much faster and become uncontrollable far quicker. So what that means is if you do small taps or very small bursts, you can still be fairly accurate on the zip line. It's going to be a lot less first shot accuracy. It's going to be pretty difficult to hit that headshot every single time, but for the most part, you're going to be able to get a small grouping of bullets. And why does this matter? Well, this tells you a few things. First off, if you are engaging someone when you're on a zip line, you do not want to be spraying for a long amount of time. Now, this works really well for you because of how quickly you can move up and down the zip line. You see, you should be engaging enemies on the zip line much in the same way that you swing enemies that you know is around a corner. You go really rapidly, you stop where you can see the enemy, and you take your shots, and then you instantly dip back down. This really replicates that swinging motion on a zip line, and it can be pretty damn accurate as long as you're only tap shooting, like I said. Don't try to spray for substantial bursts. Now, also, almost every single weapon in the game is going to be accurate on the zip lines besides the sniper rifle. So don't be using a sniper rifle while on the zip line, but for every other gun, you can be at least fairly accurate enough to still kill the enemy if you catch them off guard. Now, that also means if you don't kill them with the first couple of shots, it's typically better to go down and reset your aim before you fire any more. You get a small window of time to perhaps hit your shots, but a lot of times you're gonna end up dying if you stay out there too long. Now, another thing that you should know is that no abilities can be used on zip lines. This is pretty obvious, but even things that you would think would be usable, things like Jet's ultimate, you can't fire that ability while on zipline, so that's just something to keep in mind. Now, here is the big crafty tip that I got for you that is guaranteed to mess with an enemy. So first up, if you jiggle peek up and you fire a little bit at an enemy, what they often will do is they will be waiting crosshair perfectly at the zip line, ready for you to peek up so they could just click your head just like that. Now, what you could actually do if you practice it, and you could do this very quickly, is you can hop over to the other zip line, attach on, and instantly peek up as well and fire. if you really get the hang of this, you can actually jump across and enemies don't necessarily know where you're gonna peek from at any given time. This will greatly distract an enemy because a lot of times you can jiggle peek once, do a little bit of damage, but you won't finish off the enemy, and then you can hop across and jiggle peek on the other side and their crosshair placement will be a little bit off. So definitely practice this skill because it's going to guarantee to get you some value in mix-ups and potentially catching enemies off guard. But all in all, I definitely think that if you master the understanding around zip lines, you're gonna have a lot easier time holding vents, holding around zip lines, and just playing Split in general. Now for the last map that we have to go over Ascent. And there's two things that make Ascent kind of unique. They do have breakable walls, we're not gonna talk about that, but it's mainly the closable doors and the breakable glass. Before I talk about any other wall bang or any other specific strategies on this map, do not break the glass on defense, okay? Go around it, especially on defense, because glass is a indication or a alarm if enemies are trying to sneak in. Imagine you're playing B near heaven or even on point, and because one of your allies broke through glass, they sneak in through cat, they sneak up to heaven, and all of a sudden, enemies could be pushing in through A main, or they could flank you, kill you. You could have enemies coming from multiple areas. They could go all the way to heaven, flank around. The enemies could just sneak anywhere in your entire team. And that's what glass really allows you to do. It really allows you to know that they're not directly attacking you at that given moment. And at the very least, it isolates the areas that enemies could be coming from. So definitely do not break the glass if you are on defense. It is very important to not do that. And if you see the glass broken, look at it as an opportunity to maybe make a sneak play. Now, another thing in general about closing the doors is a big problem that happens to a lot of players is they will close the doors far too early. And what I mean by that is someone will be pushing up cat or anything like that and you're holding A and you just close the doors right away. The problem is it gives the enemies easy access to a lot of different avenues to flank around. The other aspect of that is that it cuts off information from you on the inside. So it could be a really easy way for you to actually screw yourself because you close the door and they rotate off and then you have no idea what they're doing. So that's something to keep in mind. Definitely think about how the door closing affects you. Think about it honestly as a temporary sage wall, right? If you were gonna put a sage wall there, use it at a particular moment, but keep in mind that it can actually hurt you if you use it as the wrong moment as well. It's not something that you should just jam at the first sign of danger. Now, real quickly, let's play a video of some really cool wall bang spots on A that you can definitely incorporate in your games. So right off the bat, when attackers push in, they usually close the door right away. Now, that does give you some information about where they are, and you can punish that with a certain wall bang. So unfortunately with the AR, there's a lot of places on this wall that you can't wall bang, but right where the actual terminal is for closing the door, they're standing right on it. You can deal enough damage there to punish them only in that small little area. So this is definitely possible at the moment that they're trying to close the door. However, the problem is they typically will back up against this far wall. And as you can see, I can't wall bang this wall. So that's incredibly important to understand. Now, if you don't have a Phantom or Vandal, but instead have an Odin, then this wall all of a sudden becomes wall bangable and you can kill the person by pressuring that corner. This is extremely powerful for those of you who are playing on B site. Let's say you're Sova, you're practicing the Sinatra strats and you're using the LMG strats. You rotate through mid to cat, and someone closes that door or you suspect someone's hiding in that door, you can actually get some additional value out of basically spy checking for that corner. Definitely try it in your games. I think it's going to be extremely powerful, and also you could do it off the indication of the door closing because you know they're most likely going to be there. Okay, the next wallbang spot we're going to talk about is up top, up here. If you are standing up here, up against this corner, which a lot of people like to hide in, we're going to show you exactly where you need a wall bang to potentially kill someone on the other side. So yes, just like that. Okay, so from the other's perspective, I'm going to definitely show you exactly where you need to aim for, just about, in order to kill people on the other side. So you would actually think that it'd be further to the right, but it's really about center mass, about right here. You want to aim in this general area, but with an op, it's a lot more difficult. So in that general area is what you want to aim for. It really depends on if the enemy's crouching or not. If they're standing a little bit higher, you could hit right here, but you could also aim a little bit lower, depending on exactly where you think the enemy is going to be. And this is really important because you could sometimes check this and you don't know exactly where enemies are, but you can definitely check in this corner a couple of times and try to fish for a kill in there. From an AR spray point of view, it would look something like this, and you just painting this area. Now, moving on specifically to the B side, one of the most common strats that's being used in Sinatra, in Sentinels, and a lot of other teams is the silver wallbang with an LMG from the other side as a B defender. Now, here is the big thing that you need to understand. There is a box, right? And you know the box, that's where the orb is on top of. That box will block all of your bullets. So here is an outline of the box from both sides so that you better know kind of where the box is so that you know exactly where you need to shoot around. Now, on top of that, look at this exact spot. If you look at the window and the pillar, you follow it down and you go just above that little break in the wall, you shoot right there. I'm going to show it in this video. That is how you kill someone who is grabbing the orb. So you don't even need information for that with your recon arrow or anything. You can just wait there with an LMG. You hear someone grab the orb and you kill them in like a matter of seconds with an Odin. Even an Ares does a ton of damage and you'll be able to kill them right away before they can even get off. So definitely keep that in mind. That is pretty much free value on the table just with information. Now, if you're going to shoot people to the right of the box, you want to be aiming for that Doodle's head and slightly around there. Poor Doodle, I'm sorry. But you aim around there and that will be the entrance for them coming in. Now, keep in mind, people can shoot you back, but only if they have heavy weaponry. So a lot of times if they're rocking ARs or anything like that, they're not going to be able to do any damage to you. Now, on top of that, right over here in this video that we're going to show you, this is the left of the box, and anywhere along here you can spray all along this wall for the most part and spray any enemies that are coming through. Now, you want to put a lot of initial pressure right off the bat to the right of the box, and then if anyone grabs the orb, you could just try to kill someone there. And sometimes you actually want to be kind of secret or incognito. Let them think they're safe, grab the orb, get a free kill that way. But make sure that you don't let enemies just sneak through and leave the orb, but it's up to you. I hope this video has actually taught you a few things about wallbang spots, about specific strats on every single map, and things that you definitely can use in your games. If you learned anything in this entire video, smash that like and subscribe button, and that's all we got. Definitely let me know what other videos you want to see in the comments down below. I'm Coach Mills, and of course, until next time.